What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Yeah, so it's going to be a really interesting one. Guys, I've been getting very aggressive for a reason. My goal here is to really start like dissecting crypto. Let's wait for people to jump in though. We're about to get in it. What's up, guys? I'm here. What's going on? Yeah, so I'm gonna give you guys some good stuff. So just to be clear with everybody watching this video, they're definitely manipulating the market. I didn't think they would take it this far. Just to be real with you guys, I didn't think it was gonna get this crazy. But just to so you understand, the market's I don't believe gonna fall. We could have volatility though. So like the news that's coming up, I think is probably a little bit crazier than even the Bitcoin halving. And I'll explain that, right? So the Bitcoin halving is obviously one of these huge events, like major monumental events. The entire market is pretty much determined off the Bitcoin halving. And this could be even crazier. Like right now, what we're experiencing right now, what we experienced with this whole Germany situation and in general, like it's crazy. It's insane. Now, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Mt. Gox situation and all that. Again, no reason to be scared. Hopefully, you guys are using risk management and you're not just investing based off of emotions. Hopefully, you don't get emotionally triggered, things like that. Seriously, though, use risk management and have wisdom in your investments. If you're new here, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with a friend. This is going to be a deep video. So I found some evidence on some things. I want to talk about narrative trends. So like everybody has, we can go down the list, right? Like how many narratives are there, right? If you're watching this, put narratives in the comment section, by the way. What you think of narratives. Like we all know what? DPIN, AI, layer ones, layer twos, meme coins, gaming. The question is, when are the narratives going to take off, right? Because there's different cycles within the overarching cycle. So we know that, like, if we look at trickle-down economics, right? So write this down, by the way. Write this down. If you're watching this video, write what I'm about to say. Sorry, I'm screaming at you guys. I'm going to startle you. Write this down, okay? So it basically goes like this. When it comes to assessing the trend of the market, if you want to know where the market's going, this is how you look at it. First, top, Federal Reserve. We talked about that last video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Look at my last stream. Not my last video. You can look at my last video too, but look at the last stream. So at the top, Federal Reserve. One step below that is Bitcoin's price, because Bitcoin moves the entire market, right? Bitcoin's the biggest, has the institutional adoption, has all the liquidity. Right now it has the Bitcoin spot ETF. Ethereum has a spot ETF too, but it hasn't launched. And right below that is like altcoins. Ethereum is the biggest altcoin, so you could say that's like technically below it. So it goes Federal Reserve, Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, right? Now, within the altcoin cycle, I'm going to prove it to you guys in this video, which actually is annoying because there was an image I wanted to show you guys, but I could pull it up anyways. I'll pull it up manually. But within the altcoin cycle, there's actually narrative cycles. And that's what I'm coming to a realization. Like, for example, in the beginning of last bull run, there was a narrative that went viral. And then towards the end, there was another narrative that went viral. So, like, we have to determine what's most likely going to be the narrative that will do well now. Of course, when it comes to making money, right? Hold on, let me ban this guy. He's being annoying. This guys, don't spam. Come on, man. This is weird. This guy's just spamming. But yeah, so there's narrative cycles as well. So yeah, I wanna talk about. I didn't think this was gonna happen specifically, like the amount of manipulation that they're throwing at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's pretty insane. It's getting very, very aggressive, and I'm gonna try to give you guys some comfort when it comes to the market direction. Like, I'm gonna try to give you guys as much evidence as I possibly can. But as you guys see, just to throw it out there, obviously we have the Mt. Gox news, right? So $9 billion is a lot. Last live stream, we were talking about how much Germany sold. Germany was selling like 250 million. But 9 billion it's pretty wild. That's a lot of money, right? Now, there's details that, like, guys, I want you to think about it this way, right? So very, very interesting. Look at how they set up your psychology, right? Look at how they manipulate the common person. We have this news about Germany selling. Now, we talked about it last live stream that, like, why did Germany, like, it doesn't make sense. Everybody's making fun of Germany. As soon as they sell, we're right back up in price, right? Why did Germany sell? Well, I think it's the fact that it's only 225 million really tells me that there's something probably deeper to that. There's probably something way deeper to Germany selling, because it's not a lot of money. Like, that's not a lot of, like, 225 million is not a lot of money compared to an entire country that's worth billions, right? Germany's not small. They're worth a lot of money. So why did they sell? Well, there's one thing I do know is that Germany has made headline news everywhere, right? So Germany specifically is on everybody's mind, especially right now. Everybody knows Germany sold Bitcoin. It dropped the price of Bitcoin like 7%. Bitcoin dropped 7%, whatever the case is. And everybody knows what happened. Like, that is like mainstream at this point. Everyone knows Germany's selling Bitcoin. And they have kind of this negative feeling towards it. If you really think about it, there's like a negative feeling towards Germany selling Bitcoin, right? Just think about it. People are they're like, it's like they feel a little bit of pain because they recently experienced a dip. Now, literally, just look at the series of events, right? Look what happened. Boom, Germany sells. Boom, we have an assassination attempt against Trump. As soon as that happens, it flips bull. Like, we flipped bull. Like a bull that we haven't seen in like 2 months. Price of assets start going up like crazy. Altcoins start flying, right? Like, and I'm talking about a 24-hour time period, not like a long time period, right? But then literally 2 days later, right, after Germany sells all of their Bitcoin, they start spamming the news with the Mt. Gox. This is the type of manipulation I'm telling you guys. If you don't read between the lines, if you don't understand the real world behind everything that's going on right now, you're going to get manipulated. It generally pisses me off that they take it this far. They're taking it very far. So right now, the big news is that we have $9 billion, or I'm sorry, $3 billion right here, being sent to Kraken, I believe, from Mt. Gox. So Mt. Gox, I don't know if you guys know this, and I was talking to my group about this. Mt. Gox was the first Bitcoin exchange, but it didn't start as a Bitcoin exchange. And this is very important, very, very important. So do me a favor really quickly. We have 264 people here. Please do me a favor and like the video, share it. Why do we have these spammers, bro? It's crazy. It's crazy. But like, Mt. Gox, very important information, is it was a Magic the Gathering exchange. So Magic the Gathering is a card game. Let me ban this guy. Yeah, Magic the Gathering was a card game. So as a card game, we have literally, like, has nothing to do with Bitcoin. But they started accepting Bitcoin, and long story short, Bitcoin became the main, medium exchange on that exchange because they were making more money off Bitcoin than anything else. So, hold on one second. Let's get somebody to. Let me text my. Hold on one second, guys. Yeah, I want to dive into it with no distractions. Can you mod live stream? Scammers. Just being annoying. Yeah, I need a mod. I'm gonna get some mods in here. So Magic the Gathering, right? So think about these guys, right? Think about it. Like, back in the day, it was very difficult to buy Bitcoin, right? It was very difficult. To get your credit card details or whatever the case was, your bank account set up was probably extremely difficult because nobody knows what it is. They think it's a scam. Not only that, but to get on the website in the first place was extremely difficult and annoying. I mean, like, just think about 10 years ago Bitcoin. It's difficult to get crypto right now. The other day I tried to buy Ethereum. It was extremely difficult to buy Ethereum, right? So, like, long story short, back in the day, it was like you had to be smart. You had a different type of mindset. You knew computers. You probably were deep into the technology world. You knew the internet. Like, you're a smart person. to be able to buy Bitcoin back in those days. Like you knew what you're talking about, right? And to even buy Bitcoin in the first place, like you have to understand the technology. Like no one just puts their money into random things. So now you have to understand blockchain technology. You have to understand what Bitcoin was. You have to be able to go on an exchange and be able to actually pull off that purchase, which is relatively difficult. Right now, people can't even pull off purchases, and crypto is mainstream. So these people, I want to be very clear with you. The people that are getting the Mt. Gox Bitcoin, they're not regular people. They've been watching Bitcoin for like 10, 15 years. They know what Bitcoin is. They're smart people. They know how high Bitcoin went. They understand the Bitcoin cycle. They're probably savvy investors. Like the average Mt. Gox person, just think about it. Like that's crazy. Now, doesn't mean they're not going to sell. They might sell some of it, right? They could probably sell some of it. But do you really think that these guys, they know Bitcoin, they know the Bitcoin cycle, like they've been in it for so long, they've watched the asset price. They even probably invested again, even after losing their money in Mt. Gox, right? They've been in crypto longer than me. I was not in crypto around Mt. Gox. They likely won't sell everything. Will they sell? Probably. Not everything. I know that for a fact. And I'm willing to bet the majority of this Bitcoin will not be sold. But the news manipulates people so much. It's insane how much manipulation. They make it seem like the world's going to end because Mt. Gox transfers some Bitcoin. And the timing of it is impeccable. The timing is so insane. Like, just really think about this. 2 days after Germany stopped selling, they moved their Bitcoin. And today, the official news, right here, update. Nate's instincts were right. Hearing SEC finally got back to issuers today, asking them for final S1s on Wednesday. This this request effectiveness on Monday after close for Tuesday. So basically, this Tuesday, the 23rd, we're having the Ethereum spot ETF. So just really, like, just see how they move. Like, I claimed it in last video. I kept saying over and over again, watch the last live stream. It's pretty important. It kind of piggybacks off of this one. Watch it later. I said it. I said, look, they're market making Ethereum. They're trying to get Bitcoin to flood the market, scare the living heck out of everyone in Bitcoin, and they're buying Ethereum and altcoins. They want to pump their altcoins. Some of the biggest institutions on the face of the planet with billions of dollars have invested in these altcoins and have created these altcoins. JP Morgan, BlackRock, the biggest guys in the game. I don't care. I mean, Fidelity's in it. Bro, like, if you only understood the credibility behind cryptocurrency, they all have altcoins. They have Bitcoin too, don't get me wrong, but they're really making money off the altcoins, right? Of course, they've created the organizations. They've created it. Now what they need to do is to get out because they have so much money. They need to create exit liquidity. This is simple. So this is how the market works. Please listen to what I'm saying. If you could just get this one piece of information and just one thing. If I'm a whale and I have $100 million and I want to invest in altcoins, let's say I invest in 100 altcoins, put $1 million each. Some of these altcoins are so small that if I sold $1 million worth of coin, it will dump the price of the coin. They can't just sell. The guys that got into the projects really early, that have essentially provided liquidity for these coin projects, that have spent the hundreds of millions, they have to create, why do you think they call it market making? They have to create a market. They have to literally put out marketing campaigns. Listen to what I'm saying. They put out marketing campaigns to the public to get people to come into these coins. They get people to come into these coins. And as the demand increases, as people start flying into altcoins, they sell it to them, right? Just think about it. If I started my own shoe brand, right? I want to start my own shoe brand. Just listen to what I'm saying, please. If I wanted to start my own shoe brand and I made Alex shoe or whatever the case is, and I made 10,000 pairs, how would I sell it? I'll sell it by marketing my shoes and getting people to buy it. They're doing the same thing with altcoins. They're creating altcoins. Now, obviously, there's utility behind it. There's all these things. I know. Trust me. I get it. But at the same time, their goal is to sell it so they can fund the company. And they do that through marketing campaigns. So the powers that be are essentially trying to drive adoption, and they get all of the liquidity from Bitcoin. That's where all of the liquidity comes from. All the liquidity comes from Bitcoin. This is a cycle thing. It happens every single cycle. I don't care who you're watching. This is the way that this works. They cycle all of the money from Bitcoin and it dumps into altcoins. And this is the reason why right now we have this huge FUD when it comes to specifically Mount Gox situation, as well as Germany selling. They're using those two big pieces of news to dump Bitcoin, and at the same time, they're launching an Ethereum spot ETF, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. In the same week, are you not listening? Do you know what an Ethereum spot ETF is? Do you guys understand what a spot ETF is? A spot ETF allows people with retirement accounts that can't pull their money out because of tax purposes. They cannot withdraw their money. It allows them to take their retirement and put it into Ethereum, non-taxable. And not only that, but the taxes are handled. They don't have to do nothing. They just click a button. They get to buy Ethereum and Bitcoin. The institution running this, whoever it is, BlackRock or whatever, are going to the Ethereum market, buying Ethereum and taking it off the market. Are you hearing me right now? So they're literally taking Ethereum supply away, and then in Bitcoin, they're adding Bitcoin supply. They're adding Bitcoin supply, taking Ethereum supply away. They're dumping Bitcoin's price, supply and demand. They're dumping Bitcoin's price. They're increasing Ethereum's price at the same exact time. Now, these are not some normal news events. These are big, like huge news events. Like Ethereum spot ETF will never happen in the history of all crypto ever. I'm arguing that the Ethereum spot ETF approval was bigger than any news event in the history of all crypto, even bigger than any Bitcoin halving. I think at the end of the show, in 5, 10 years, 20 years, this Ethereum spot ETF will be bigger than even the Bitcoin spot ETF. I think Ethereum's going to pass Bitcoin eventually somewhere down the line. I think there's going to be more people on Ethereum. I mean, it's simple math, bro. Ethereum brings blockchain to everything. Bitcoin brings blockchain to Bitcoin. There's one versus infinity. Who's going to have more people in it? Think about that, right? So, like, bro, this is it. Why do you think I'm live streaming? Why do you think I keep, this is it. You're witnessing history. If you're watching this video right now, the market is being made. On the same exact time, Uniswap, the biggest decentralized, this is today, Uniswap, the biggest decentralized exchange on Ethereum that started this whole thing. And I'll prove that in this video. In this video, I'm going to release a chart never before seen. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last one, but I added, there's a different perspective, completely different perspective. I'm going to show you guys a chart that you've never seen. Uniswap started the altcoin cycle, and today they're dropping, as you can see here, publicly launches wallet browser extension supporting 11 blockchains. They launch a product today. The timing is impeccable. It is clear what they are trying to do, and it will become more clear as I show you the data. This is the data. This right here shows exactly what I'm talking about. Do me a favor, like the videos. Share this with a friend that needs to hear that. Bro, there's so much misinformation on the internet. There's so many people giving, spamming the internet with the false, it's crazy, false information. But just think about it. Uniswap today, I want you to remember this. If you're watching this video, remember this. Take a note. Take a note. Take a note. Someone says Sol dominates ETH. Bruh, do your research, fam. Solana is an exit strategy. They are exiting. Bro, I don't want to jump into it too much. It's gonna get a little out of hand here. But Uniswap today, just remember, write it down. Everybody write it down. Take a second. Write down while I take this sip of water. Write down Uniswap today launched their smart wallet. Write it down. Man, these live streams, I'm gonna lose my voice. It's getting crazy. Yeah, so just remember that, okay? Also, Stripe, for example, as you can see here, enables Bitcoin, Ether, and Solana crypto purchase. I mean, I'm just showing you positive, bullish news, but like that Uniswap article timing though, I'm gonna you'll see. You're gonna understand. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, Alex, I get it. Now, we'll talk about this later. I want to dive into the meat of this. Now, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? So this chart, very interesting chart here. So what we're looking at is Bitcoin versus the entire market. This is the dominance of Bitcoin. So this is where it gets in, guys. Take notes, take a deep breath. If you're eating something, put your food down. If you're distracted, cut the distractions off. This is the meat. This is the important part of the video. I really need you guys to understand. So we have the Bitcoin dominance chart. And the Bitcoin dominance chart specifically basically shows Bitcoin dominance dropping or increasing. So when Bitcoin dominance drops, that means Bitcoin's losing dominance over the market. And at one point, Bitcoin only had 35%, but back in the day, Bitcoin had 98% of the market. Bitcoin was 98% of the market. Here, Bitcoin was 35% of the market. Here, Bitcoin was 73% of the market. We're currently sitting at 54.91% of the market. That's where Bitcoin currently is. So, just looking at the chat, making sure there's no scammers. So basically, I used to think, and I still believe this, that the altcoin cycles were here. There's three different cycles. There's the Federal Reserve cycle, there's the Bitcoin halving cycle, and there's the altcoin super cycle. I'm talking about the altcoin super cycle. So I usually always looked at this time period as the altcoin super cycle because, look, Bitcoin dominance dropped. And it's true. Around this time, altcoins were flying. But see, they moved a little bit earlier than that. The super cycle actually started like right around here. So what happened was Bitcoin and altcoins went up in price. Altcoins went crazy, Bitcoin went crazy at the same time. Here, Bitcoin dropped and altcoins kept going crazy. So this is where the Bitcoin dominance dropped. Now, I could prove that to you. So if we come over here to Glassnode Insights, actually I want to go to the image first. If we come over here to the Glassnode Insights, I want to show you a couple things. So this orange line here, I'm gonna show it to you here because I can manipulate it. So this orange line here, that's Bitcoin's price. The green line, I'm gonna take this slow, please take notes. The green line is Bitcoin balance on exchanges. So when Bitcoin goes onto the exchange, usually that means Bitcoin's being sold. You can see that right here. Look, line goes up, green line's going up, Bitcoin's dropping in price. You can even see this big spike here. Line goes up, Bitcoin's dropping in price. And this is pretty consistent throughout the board. Why? Because it's an exchange. If you put money on an exchange, you're getting ready to sell it. It's very simple, straightforward. If you bring shoes to a shoe exchange, why are you doing that? Because you want to sell it. So when people put money on exchanges, it's usually because they want to sell it. Listen to what I'm saying. So right here, we have the COVID event. We all know this is COVID. Hopefully you know this. Hopefully you guys memorize this chart. This is Bitcoin's price, very important. I know this off the top of my head, you should too. This is Bitcoin's price. So right here was the COVID event. Right here, there was a narrative in the market. So what's a narrative? A narrative is a story. It's a story that tells the market. So what they do is they implant these narratives and the narratives go viral. People tell the story because they understand it. They know how to explain it. It's easy to understand. They start telling their friends, hey, did you find out that Mt. Gox is selling all their Bitcoin? Did you find out that Germany's selling all their Bitcoin? Easy to understand narrative. Simple narratives. They're stories that people tell in the market and they just regurgitate it and it keeps going, right? That's the whole point of a narrative. That being said, the narrative here was that they're printing money, Bitcoin's better. Why am I making that claim? Because the Federal Reserve printed right here. The Federal Reserve printed the most the Federal Reserve has ever printed in the history of all USD right around this time period. They print trillions of dollars. They printed like 80% of the entire United States dollar supply right here. So the whole narrative of Bitcoin is sound money, hard money. That's the whole narrative. The whole thing about Bitcoin is that there's 21 million in existence and nothing more. And it's fixed and it decreases in issuance every 4 years or so with the Bitcoin halvings. So the entire Bitcoin thing is that it has scarcity built into it. The entire thing about USD is the exact opposite. There's an infinite amount of dollars. An infinite amount of dollars. They keep printing at will. There's no cap. So right here, that's what established the bull run. Market drops, Federal Reserve prints, the Federal Reserve printed right here, and it actually caused the market to drop. The market dropped, and then right here we established the bull run through this narrative. So right here, you look, this was the printing narrative right there. And you can see that all of the Bitcoins leaving the exchanges on this downtrend right there. Look at how much Bitcoin's leaving the exchange. Happened right there, printing narrative. That was the printing narrative. Listen, 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 listen. This is not a repeat of yesterday. This is way more different. So printing narrative, boom, boom, boom. Bitcoin leaves the exchanges. Now, somewhere along the line, which was very interesting, we have the red line here. Now, the red line is the amount of Ethereum that's on exchanges. That's the amount of ETH that is going on exchanges. That is right there, the red line. So as you can see, we have a whole bunch of ETH moving on exchanges forever. And then at some, like right here, this one moment, we have Ethereum leave the exchanges and it never turned back around. It never turned out to, hold on one second. People are just hating, bro. It never turned back around. So right here, Ethereum's dropping off in price. Now the question is, what caused that? Now if we pull open Uniswap, Google Trends, you can see that there was spikes in Uniswap and DeFi. Now Uniswap was the only decentralized exchange that had any liquidity, any buzz. Now understand, Uniswap news, right? Right here, Uniswap specifically, let me say it again. Uniswap specifically went viral, clearly. Look at that, August 2020. August 2020, Uniswap, and this is the search term, by the way. This is how many people are searching DeFi and Uniswap. So we have, and I was there for it. I know this because I was making videos around that time. And I was, really, really diving into this. So it says right here, no, don't stop. Tell us, think about Solana. So Solana is on the bottom of my radar. I'm not even thinking about it. I don't think anybody with money is really thinking about it. I think mainstream media is thinking about it, and I think people with money are using mainstream media as exit. But I'm not going to go into that too much. Right here, the point is, right here, August 2020, we have a huge spike in demand. A whole bunch of people are getting involved with the term Uniswap and DeFi. And it happens to be that that's right there, August 2020. August 2020 starts the trend of Ethereum leaving the market. Ethereum is leaving the market. Ethereum is leaving the market and it never turned around. So that is what you call, and here's the home, I'm gonna bring it home for you guys. This is where it's completely different, right? That is where you call I call them like big brain narratives, but the best way I could put it is this right here. There's something called an adoption curve. The person that's an innovator is completely different than the late majority. There's different types of narratives for different people. There's different stories for different people. Meaning the story here is going to probably be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to learning. It's going to be more difficult to understand here than it is over here. Over here, you're going to see NFTs. You're going to see, like crazy things. Like you're going to see all this crazy stuff over here. Like when it comes to like mainstream media stuff. You're going to see like NFTs, gaming. You're going to see meme coins, like easy to understand narratives. But over here, it's going to be more tech-based, more DeFi, like things like that. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to understand. And I'm going to prove that to you. So right here, again, if we bring it back, this was the DeFi narrative. This is what started DeFi narrative. Now, to understand back in those days, now today it's probably a little bit better, but understanding back in those days, DeFi was very difficult. To understand a decentralized autonomous organization, to understand a decentralized exchange was very difficult. Like even now, some of you don't even understand what it is. Like truly understand what an automated market maker is and understanding how liquidity works and order book works. So back in the day, like that was alpha. A decentralized exchange was like, bro, you know what that is? Like that's like what we're teaching now, but back in the day. So it was what I consider a big brain narrative, like right here. That's like smart. That's like it's a story that only like smart people or people that have a tendency of researching, people that look into things for themselves, that are innovators, early adopters of things, that was a narrative for them. And that started everything. So I believe right now, that we don't need a mainstream narrative. I think gaming's gonna come later. Now I could prove that, right? So watch this. If you look at let's look at Gala Games. Gala Games was one of the best producing assets last cycle. Like one of the best. I think it was top 10. I don't think. It was top 10. So let's go to, and it's the most simple narrative ever, right? Gala Games, think about it. It's just literally games. Game, like everyone understands games, right? Let me show you something. Wow. Gala Games. Here we go. It's my keyboard. There we go. It's not coming up. Let's look up Gala. Here it is. So Gala Games themselves is a very, I claim that this is like more of like a smart person, I mean a mainstream person narrative. Like when I mean mainstream, I mean like everyone understands Gala Games. Like everyone understands game. It's kind of like an NFT. It's like culture. It's like more like less technology stuff and more like culture stuff, right? More like everyone can understand it stuff, right? So right here, look at the date. Look at the date at the top. Look at when it started taking off. Right here. That's 11/11/2021. Now, if we look at Bitcoin's price, last cycle, there was two tops. There was the first top and there was a second top. Look at 11/11. This is November, is right here. This was the second market top. This is when mainstream was in the market. Right here. That's when mainstream was in the market. Now, over here was the DeFi boom. So this is the adoption curve I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, the narratives here were completely different. Gala Games was not a thing in 2020 at all. Like, nothing. And it was out, but it didn't catch any virality, no price increase at all until later. Now, I actually have more evidence to prove that. Let me pull up in this, Infogram. So let me log in with Google. Let me pull up in a different browser so you guys don't see my personal information. Try to hack me and be weird. There we go, again, this guy. Those are annoying. So basically, I have these charts here that compare Bitcoin's price to a Google search term trend, right? So watch this. Here, I'm going to prove it. Look at the Ethereum search trend. Ethereum search trend started the first big cycle. A lot of people started searching Ethereum. Look at crypto, first big cycle. Now look at specifically, where is it? Look at how it comes a little bit later. So this is NFT. NFT went viral the second pop. This is Bitcoin's price. This is the first pop. The second top right there was NFT. NFT is a little bit easier to understand. Look at this one. This is Metaverse. This is when the Metaverse started going viral. Everybody started talking about the Metaverse. That was the second pop right there. As you can see clearly right there. Right? So again, that just proves my point. That's like, you have different narratives. In the beginning, you're going to have more narratives that are like people have to try to understand. Like that take a little bit more time to really understand. But then after the cycle goes through and goes through everything, then you have narratives that are like easy to understand. It's the adoption curve. So hopefully I proved my point with this specific fact. And then it's basically all that to say this. The question is, what's the narrative this cycle? I believe, and it's very clear, that the narrative this, like right now, within the next 1 to 6 months, is going to be real world assets. It's very clear. Real world assets is very close to DeFi. Excuse me. Very close to DeFi. And they're basically, and I know, and look, I know probably everybody's talked about real world. I get it. Everybody's talked about real world assets. Everybody's, oh yeah. But they also talked about AI. They also talked about gaming. They're also talking about meme coins. They're also talking about all these other things. Bro, like I'm a cycle trader. I'm going to dump money into real world asset coins. And then when the next narrative pops off, I'm going to take the money from that and put it into the next narrative. So this is a short-term answer for you guys. Like 3 to 6 months, real world assets is going to take the market. That's what they're market making real world assets right now. The market makers are market making real world assets. That is the next hot trend now, like right now. And it could die off. And I think the gaming coins are going to pop off a little bit later. I think meme coins are going to really, really catch crazy steam a little bit later. I think AI will catch steam somewhere in the middle. I'm not too sure about that one, which category that falls in. But I think right now the answer is real world assets. If you have money in any other type of niche, I think it's way smarter to start putting your money into RWAs. That is my official opinion, and that is what I'm going to be researching. In my group, I'm actually giving away $1,000 to anybody that calls out a coin that basically, I'm going to show you the posts. Let's go over here. So in both of my groups, if you give me a coin that I buy, with good research, of course, let me show you, where is it? I will pay you $1,000. You can submit it to my database, and if I buy your coin, I will pay you $1,000 right here, cash. And you can submit an unlimited amount of times. Yeah, and yeah, you can do that if you want to. But if you, by the way, I'm gonna put it in the, if you guys wanna look into this, it's coinprixcom. That's what we do. That's what I do. I don't know what you do, but that's what I do. All right, cool. I'm going to pin that for you guys. Yeah, so now I'm going to answer questions, as long as they're not from scammers, because there's a whole bunch of scammers, the bots, and the one Ando equals one condo. Yeah, so that's the next move. The next move is real world assets. I proved it undeniably. Here's another kind of some proof here for the DeFi boom to prove that the DeFi went off. Right here, August, you see Uniswap integration. You see everything started taking off right here. They tried to vampire attack. Vampire attack is basically they duplicated Uniswap and then try to take all their liquidity. So yeah, you see all that right there. It's very clear that that's the move. So right now, if you have money, if you don't have any money in real world assets, it's time to start buying some real world asset coins. I'll be making some top altcoin videos about real world assets. Look, just to sum up this video, before I start answering some questions, just to sum everything up, it's very simple. Bitcoin there might be some volatility. I'm just going to be clear with you guys. I don't know. I don't think it's going to dump. I don't think it's going to be a downtrend. I really don't. But we're going to have volatility. I do know that. We're going to have some volatility. We're going to have, like, just think about it. Mt. Gox selling all that, like giving all that Bitcoin to people, and at the same time we have the Ethereum spot ETF. There's going to be volatility. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs, okay, for sure. I'm not going to time that. I think it's foolish to time that because it could be a lot of ups. This could just skyrocket the market. It could just be so quick, and then everything just skyrockets. But that's the gist, is we're going to have a lot of volatility this month, for sure. And then after that, real world assets are going to start popping off. And just to give you guys some, I'm going to be researching these aggressively as I showed you guys. But if you want, here's two ways so you can find them. You can go to CoinMarketCap, click RWAs, and it shows you a whole list of them. And I have, of course, the checklist that you guys can get access to. If you guys want my checklist to see exactly how I research the coins, you can just literally run through these coins. And I have CoinGecko. So I have a training, by the way, that you guys can get access to. I'm going to give it to you. But right here, real world assets, if you go to categories, Control F, RWA, boom. You go to real world assets, same thing. So you can use these websites, and what we're doing in my group is we're using my checklist. So I have a checklist that you guys can go to right here. It's actually, you learn more. Go into the free millionaire checklist. There's an hour-long training, a free training. You don't have to pay anything. I give you my fundamental analysis system. So the fundamental analysis is basically comparing and contrasting all coins. You can compare this coin to that coin, and I'm doing that with RWAs. I'm literally going to run through this. I'm going to compare the team. I'm going to compare their narrative. I'm going to compare their marketing. I'm going to look into their website design. I'm going to look into their website conversions. I'm going to look into their utility. I'm going to look into their liquidity. Of course, liquidity. I'm going to be looking into their tokenomics. I mean, there's so many different variables. This is why I made a checklist. And I'm just going to compare and contrast and rate them. And then from there, I'm going to have my research that I need to buy RWAs. So until the Ethereum spot ETF is like clear and the dust is settled with this whole thing, we're going to experience some volatility, and I will be ready for that. I will have research papers, and I will be buying altcoins. And of course, I will be updating you guys on YouTube. So yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel, share with a friend and things like that. Yeah. So sick of people scamming Alex and his fans, man. Yeah, it sucks, bro. It is what it is. It's not just me though. It's every crypto person on the face of the planet. Their comment sections are trash. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying to answer some questions. At least if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna head out after this. What's up? What's up? Tokenize everything. Yes, sir. Like and share. Like and share, like and share, like and share. What RWA assets are we grabbing? I'm going to make videos on this. I know Pendles and RWA, you guys already know about that. As well as Axelar actually specifically has created, like Ando, I believe Ando is created on Axelar, if I'm not mistaken. So Axelar's infrastructure, right? And they have an ecosystem. It's like really good tech, right? Look, like they created Ando. I don't know if you got, everyone talks about Ando. Look who created Ando, Axelar. Oh, that's cool. That's cool on the website. RWA's Centrifuge, they created these. So yeah, so this could be categorized as like infrastructure stuff for RWAs. But yeah, you guys know that I didn't buy Ando. I don't recommend buying Mantra. I was doing some research. I looked into it. It looks like really sketchy. But I'm going to find my RWA. I'm going to use a checklist. I'm really going to find it. Probably another one around 130 million market cap. Meta Hero. Why is Bitcoin in one price? I just literally answered this video. They didn't create it, they partnered. I think they used the technology. They used the technology. Look, Axelar ecosystem. Look, they have an integration. If you go here to ecosystem projects, could be wrong, RWA. Look, powered the application and builders, and you see right here, Ando. They're using their technology. All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend. Thank you so much for liking this video. I love you guys. Peace out. I'm going to end this live stream here. You have a good day. Buy crypto. Don't be scared. Volatility is normal. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.